Why is it that we only realize what we had after it's gone? But before we get into it, good morning, everyone. That's a beautiful morning, a beautiful sunrise morning. And thank you so much for joining me here on a brand new episode of Shaar Habechinah. Now, Rav Av brings some examples of it. Why does a woman understand the greatness of marriage only after she's unfortunately been widowed? And why does a man suddenly see the sweetness of life just as he's about to leave it? Why do we only open our eyes at the very end? In the previous episode, we spoke about the world as a hospital for the blind. And most people walk around without ever seeing the goodness that's surrounding them. But once their spiritual bandages are removed, once they begin to see, they're shocked to discover that this world is actually really good. It's Tov Ma'od. But now comes the next step. The next step is that once we see, you have to teach others. Rav Av, who's the author of Rav Av, writes that it is the duty of the wise to awaken the blind to Hashem's kindness. It's our job to open eyes, not just to our own, but to guide people to see the bracha, to see the blessing in the breeze on their face, to help them realize that a piece of bread is a miracle filled with raw material that keeps us alive. Now, you might be thinking, what's a piece of bread and the wind have to do with this? So let me explain. That water. Imagine someone complaining, it's too windy today, without realizing that if the wind didn't blow, you know what would happen? I'll tell you what would happen. Mankind would cease to exist if it wasn't for the wind. Let me explain to you how that works. Without the wind, trees wouldn't grow, crops couldn't survive, and cotton wouldn't form, which means no clothing, no bread, no life. And Hashem literally sustains the world with kindness, with all these different elements, and all we do is we get bothered by it. We're inconvenienced by the weather. When someone is unaware of the importance and they eat a slice of bread without thinking, they miss the miracle that's inside that piece of bread, how it was made and how it will continue to help life. But when their mind is opened, the bracha, the blessing that they make, the hamotzi lechem min haaretz, that's no longer robotic. It's personal. It's real. The gratitude grows. Their praise to Hashem increases. And not only that, the reward that they get for that, on both on this world and on the next world, is increased. The Rav Av is calling on us, not just to open our eyes, but to assist opening the eyes of others, to teach our children, our neighbors, our friends, that Hashem's world is filled with beauty. Look at this. Look at this sunrise. If only we could see it. Because the real tragedy isn't that people suffer. No. The real tragedy is that people are surrounded by thousands of gifts every single day, and we can't even be bothered to unwrap them. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here today, and I love you all.